Probably the biggest one that stands out as something that I would like to brag about is the ramen. Because here you think of ramen and you think top ramen, you think 10 cents a pack, you think 2 cents a pack, I don't even know. And you think it's poor college students' food that would never be taken seriously as a dish. Not so in Japan. Ramen is amazing. And you have to try it to believe, I feel like. But I think I knew that ramen was an Asian thing, but I didn't make this connection in my mind that, oh, maybe ramen there is actually tasty and delicious and absolutely wonderful. But I got to my first area and we were shopping for our first P day, and he's like, oh, you probably want to pick up some packs of ramen. I was like, I do. Even as a college student, I didn't really eat a lot of ramen because I didn't like it that much. And so he's like, yeah, just get some. And I don't think it dawned on him that I still had this mindset that ramen was gross. So he just told me to get some. So I picked some up, and like the next night, I think he was making some, so I ate it. And even this packet that I bought at the store, in the wrapper, similar to how you get it here, I ate it and I was like, wow, like this is food. Like this is tasty, you know? And then we went to a ramen restaurant, like a ramen shop. My eyes were opened. From then on out, I couldn't believe how tasty it was and how cheap it was too. I'd say the equivalent is a ramen shop in Japan is equivalent to like a burger place in America. There's all sorts of varieties. There's ones that are really cheap and kind of fast food-like, if you will. Even the fast food ones were very presented well and very, very tasty. And then there's really nice ones where they really cultivated this experience. I remember one, I think you paid like $6 or $8 for the bowl, which was really exceptional. Normally it's like $1 to $2 even. But you had your own little cubicle, like one person cubicle, and it had like kind of like silencer curtains around it, and it had like just the right lighting. And you were given this menu that it wasn't, this ramen, how much meat do you want in it? You had to pay extra for meat or whatever. Do you want the green onions chopped up and put inside? That sort of thing. It was probably 10 points where you said how much oil you wanted, how spicy you wanted it, how thick you wanted the noodles, how much of like their specialty seasoning you wanted, everything, just down to every detail was outlined. And you would kind of select everything, and then they give you this bowl of ramen. It was just this wonderful experience, and you couldn't believe how delicious it was. But even the $2 ramen was so tasty, and I honestly, when I think about going back, I can't wait to go to a ramen restaurant 2 times a day just to enjoy the ramen. So that's probably the one that sticks out to me the most as something that would surprise Americans, but it was amazing. And actually, it's interesting that ramen is different depending on what part of the country you're in. I believe it's the more north you get, the thicker the noodles are typically, and the flavors change. In some parts of Japan, it's most common to have salt-flavored ramen. In some parts of Japan, it's more common to have miso-flavored ramen, which is kind of a soup. It's not just ramen, it's other kinds of soups as well. Miso, it's a kind of a distinctive Japanese flavor. In my part of Japan, it's called tonkotsu, was the most popular part of ramen. And what's sad is that it's not here at all. Like you can find salt ramen, you can find that sort of thing in America, but you can't find tonkotsu ramen. And it's basically pork bone broth. They basically take pork bones with some meat left on it, and they just boil it for ages. And they like skim the like traces that come off the bone, but they just boil it and boil it and boil it for ages. And it comes out to this very creamy, very tasty broth. And then they put the noodles in it, and it's just amazing. And one kind of fun part is that you go to a ramen restaurant, and typically you get your first bowl, and it would be maybe $3 to $5, but you could pay $1 for a refill of noodles. And they just come and they put some more noodles in your bowl, and you could just have more. And I just loved ramen. Every missionary, I think, loves ramen.